Okay. I never know if I should sit up here and talk to you guys, because then I get all the shiny lights, and I get the weirdness where, like, the webcam doesn't like to actually show you the right color, and I have to fix it in color correction. Or if I should just lean back, speak up a little bit, and, you know, obviously crop the thing down a little bit so you guys just kind of get my display case back here. Maybe we'll do that at some point in the future. I don't know, let me know if you'd rather have like a more close-up of what's going on back here. And maybe I'll rearrange how I set up the camera for the next video so that things feel a little more professional. In any case, welcome back to Tabletop Glory. My name is Graham Johnson, and welcome to Orktober. Normally, I wouldn't do this. And what do I mean by I wouldn't do this? Today's video is like really weird by the standard that I normally upload videos at. Today's a very unprofessional video, which is strange because this channel was founded on I am not a professional, I am a hobbyist that wants to do this as a job, please come along for the journey. And yet I try to be as professional as I can. Maybe I should just stop doing that, be a little bit more real. In any case, early on, I asked the community, I think we only had about 50 or 60 subscribers back then, in the future, if I am not able to finish a video before the upload time/date would normally occur, do you just want me to wait a day or two and finish off that video and then upload it late? Which is why sometimes instead of uploading on Fridays, you get the video on Saturdays, and sometimes you get it on Sundays. But I realized that to get these miniatures that I'm currently working on to the point where I want them, I'm gonna have to put a lot more time in than I wanted, which is fine. I mean, that happens all the time. And this is mostly just because my personal life has filled up a little bit more than it normally does. And so, like, my job is requiring me a little bit more, my family is requiring me a little bit more, and real life comes first. We all agree on that. But if I were to wait until this video is done the way that I wanted to, I'm not even sure if this video would come out in October. And considering it's supposed to be an Orktober video, that's kind of a problem. And considering we're only 2 weeks into the month, that's another problem. Originally, I wanted to put out 2 videos. One kind of talking about my overall process of painting the miniatures, which was going to come out at the end of the month, and one talking about just painting in general and some of the things that I do to aid with burnout mid-project. And that's still going to be the topic of today's video. But as you probably noticed with the footage that's going on around me, there's only 4 finished models. And you'll notice in the video that there are 5 models in total. In fact, 6 models that I started out of the 12-man kill team. And I wanted to have all of them done by the end of October. And I probably will. But going forward, do you guys have a problem with if something happens and I'm not able to finish the model? Would you like me to still upload the video anyway? To go ahead and talk and teach the way that I normally would and just accept the fact that the model wasn't able to get done? I know a lot of bigger YouTubers will sometimes just paint the front of the model and not even film the back of the model. And that can save a lot of time, but I play with these models more than I paint them. And so unfortunately for my personal needs, being able to do something like that doesn't necessarily fly. In any case, would you guys rather me do multi-part videos, meaning that I do my original upload as intended, and then the next part of the video is me finishing things the way that I always wanted them to be, plus touching up mistakes and things like that? Or would you rather me just upload when the project is done? Now please recognize that uploading when the project is done means that some months you may only get 1 video, whereas other months you may get 2 or 3 videos. And there could be 2 or 3 months in a row where you only get 1 video. If that's not a problem, then sure, let's do that going forward and see how that works. I would really like to stick to the 2 videos a month schedule because I know YouTube likes that. In fact, YouTube would prefer me to upload every single week. I can tell that based on my analytics from back when I used to upload every single week. But doing that was burning me out fast, and it was running through my pile of shame even faster. I have a lot of models, and I didn't think I would go through them as fast as I've been going through them. My pile of shame has probably been cut in half since starting this YouTube channel, and although not all of them have been turned into videos, they have been used for content in some way, shape, or form, so I guess the ends justify the means, I guess, in this case. Regardless, would you guys like a more chilled, laid-back YouTube channel out of me and seeing a bit more of my personality versus finishing the model for the sake of the video? Personally, I would rather do it that way, but I also know that the YouTube algorithm will hate me for doing it. And that means that I'm gonna need you guys more than ever to share videos and like videos and leave comments, because that can fight directly against the YouTube algorithm and help make sure this channel keeps growing while allowing me to make the content that I want to make. In any case, it's not about the money, because I don't make any money about it right now, but I don't want this channel to stall out and die, all because I need an extra week to work on a project. And for those of you who watch every single video, I think you agree with me, and you don't want that either. In any case, I've really enjoyed painting these models, as well as all the other ones leading up to them, and I hope to see you guys in more videos going forward. In any case, I blabbed on enough. Let's start this week's video. So I got a few questions on a live stream that I was doing over on TikTok where I was working on some of the detail bits, and we'll be showing some clips from those live streams either a little bit here on this video or probably mostly in the next one. And a lot of people were asking how I kind of got the two-tone effect where the shadows on my orcs were this really nice pastel purple color. And honestly, it's a mix of the way that I airbrush things and the way that I am wet blending and feathering and shading and things like that after the fact. So since I mentioned Miniac already, we might as well summon his wrath by painting a spoon. This is just a test to make sure that these two colors painted on top of each other as well as I hoped that they would. Now for me, something that kind of sticks with me from something that I've learned from other content creators is a lot of them talk about when wet blending, they find it easier to put down the shade and the shadow colors and then to wet blend into that with your highlight colors. And with airbrushing, although I'm not always wet blending with the airbrush, especially in this case, I'm letting things dry all the way and then applying my next layer of paint, because of the translucency of which you can get out of an airbrush, meaning you can put on such thin layers that the airbrush, for all intents and purposes, might as well be wet blending. That allows you to kind of get some similar looks to wet blending. And so I personally think that when using an airbrush, if you can lay your shadows in ahead of time and then put your next layer on top of that, you'll have a lot more success. And you can always go back in with your airbrush and reinforce those shadows by adding some more of that base layer after the fact anyway. And I kind of do that through my glazing that I do after I'm done with all of my airbrushing. Now, if you're curious to know how I managed to get this color blend, it is Demonette Hide from Citadel, and I did add a little bit of their contrast medium into it just to get a little bit better flow. I wanted to take advantage of the gray undertones that I had already airbrushed. I used a nice deep gray and a brighter gray, like a stone or concrete color, as my initial zenithal highlight. And then I went ahead and put on this super thin layer of Demonette Hide, and I only really focused that color in the deepest recesses. And then for my green, which is going to be my highlight color, it's pretty much nothing but a Athonian camo shade with a few drops of Warpstone Lightning mixed in for good measure, and that just added a nice tinge of green. So now it came to even out the skin tone, so I just used a little bit of Athonian Camo Shade, watered it down a little bit, and that was more than enough for the green. Just kind of do it all over, maybe add a little extra in some of the recesses. But when it came to the purple, the Demonette Hide, I wanted to make sure that the lumps of muscle that GW loves to put on these guys just had a nice even coating all over. I didn't worry too much about the deep recesses, as if that dark gray was in there, I thought that would work really well to kind of help contrast the muscles, at least in the shadows. The only thing is that on the hands I kind of went a little bit overboard, and there are a few spots in the arms where I kind of went a little overboard, because I like the running joke of, have you ever seen a purple orc? Well, of course you haven't, silly. They're invisible. Ha ha! I love the idea that purple being a really sneaky color in the orc mythos could play into these guys. I mean, they're supposed to be orc elites, right? And in the Kill Team box that they were originally sold in, they're going up against Kriegsmen. Kriegsmen, of all people. I mean, bless the Emperor, I'm sure the Kriegsmen will have no problem, but if they're holding their own enough against Kriegsmen, well, there must be something pretty sneaky about them. So I like the idea of maybe the purple isn't just shadows. Maybe the purple's in their skin a little bit, and then that gives them a bit of an advantage. In any case, that's just my headcanon. If you guys don't like it, I'm sorry. I think they look really nice. I like the two-tone effect that it kind of gives them, and it makes me smile to think about it. Well, that's going to kind of wrap things up for the end of this video. I guess that means that the next one's going to be part 2. And guys, this isn't because I crammed a bunch of stuff in at the beginning of this video. This is genuinely the fact that I could not get these models to the point where I wanted to get them at for the end of this video. Again, I haven't had this problem in a really long time, and this isn't like a time management thing. I just genuinely did not have enough time in 2 weeks to paint these models to the standard that I would have liked them to have been. Yes, I could have slapped them out in 2 weeks, but I wanted to paint them to a higher standard than that because I'm planning to play Kill Team, and I really want to play Orks in Kill Team, and I've been putting these guys off and I just want to play, but I want them to look good. I am a painter at heart, and I really like showing off my work, and if I'm going to be using these models a lot, I want them to look as good as they can. Now, are they going to be perfect? Absolutely not. Nothing I ever paint is perfect. But it's going to look good enough that I can be really proud of them. And honestly, at the end of the day, if you can say the same thing about yours, that you're happy with how they turned out, then I hope you're proud of your work too. I was recently talking with one of my fans over on TikTok during a live stream, and they were explaining to me that they decided to finally get into Warhammer thanks to my videos. And they decided to play White Scars. I'm going to let that one sink in for a second, because if you're not familiar with Warhammer, white armor can be the bane of a lot of miniature painters' existences. And he decided to go with the all-white White Scars. Now, he is very pleased with the results he got. He followed along with my how to paint white armor tutorial and my Does It Matter base coat video for doing white armor. And he really enjoyed the final result. The problem is, apparently he purchased almost 4,000 points of White Scars, and another gentleman said that he had also purchased about 2,000 points to play White Scars, and they both burned out after getting the white to a point where they were happy. That's no detail work, that's not painting the weapons, it's not doing the visors, it's not putting on the water slide decals, which they both want to do, and that's not basing the miniatures or putting any weathering on. Now, do you have to do all that? Absolutely not. And could they totally play with their army exactly how it is? Absolutely so, and I'm sure they both are. But they both said that by the time they got done getting the white to the point where they wanted it, they had burnt out, and they didn't know how to keep going. And burnout can be really hazardous to this hobby, not from a player's perspective, but definitely from a miniature painter's perspective. And if you don't really enjoy the painting process, it's even worse. burnout can hit so fast and so hard. Now, I've done videos before about hobby burnout, and if you haven't seen those, please go watch them. But I want to talk about the evolution of one of my best ways of fighting hobby burnout. And that's the reward model. Right now on screen, you can see me working on my reward model, and you can see the other models aren't done. I am currently knocking out the parts of the reward model that I know I'm not going to have fun painting. The more detail-oriented stuff. And by detail, I don't necessarily mean all the fine detail or all the edge highlighting. I just mean the stuff where I've got to be careful that I don't accidentally poke the brush and touch something else and then have to clean it up level of careful. You see, the whole point of a reward model is something to keep yourself motivated so that you can get through 5 or 6 models that you may not enjoy painting and then paint your reward to reward yourself for getting through the handful of models you didn't want to do. And I definitely recommend this method. I think it's really important that every 5 to 10 models, especially of ones you don't want to do, that you then do at least one that you do want to do. However, the way that I've had to evolve this reward for me, because I'm used to painting large commissions, or just doing commission after commission after commission, that I have a mixture of reward and assembly line painting, where I paint a lot of the stuff I know I'm not going to enjoy all in one go. For example, I'm doing all of the dark browns across all of the miniatures, I'm doing all the blacks, I'm doing any of these white t-shirts, I'm doing the stuff I know I'm not going to enjoy across all of them first. And then I actually took a break. I went and got something to eat. I walked away from the desk. I watched a couple episodes of anime. And then I sat back down and got started again. Now, in my case, I started up a live stream. And I worked out on all the stuff I really wasn't excited about on a live stream. And I knocked out a few more steps. And then I started to reward myself by working on the details. I personally get a lot of enjoyment out of the hobby of working on details. So I started rewarding myself by knocking out the details. However, with the miniature you're seeing on screen, I set him aside. And I'm not going to touch him again until the rest of the kill team is done. Because going forward from where I managed to leave off with him before I took my lunch break, I'm starting to work on the stuff I know I'm going to really enjoy. And this is a great way for me to force myself through the early stages of burnout, where I might want to stop and walk away and shelve this project for a few days or a few weeks and actually knock it out and get it done. But this is also a really great way so that as I start to really burn out, I'm actually working on a model I really want to work on. And I don't notice the burnout as much. And as I start working on the details for the model that I'm really wanting to work on, and I start doing the part of the hobby that I really enjoy, the burnout goes away. And then as I finish this model, I don't have any burnout anymore. And I'm ready to start on my next project. And I'm excited. And I'm ready to go. And the next time I put all my stuff together and I get my wet palette together and I pick out my paints and I grab my new model, I'm ready to start. And I didn't have to take a huge break to get myself back into the mood to do it. Now this works for me because I paint a lot of models, and it might not necessarily work for you. Go ahead and try it out for yourself. Let me know. I think this is a really great way to reward yourself as you work on an army. For me, I have to do this on an almost weekly basis because of how many models I paint. But it is rewarding, and it is a really great way for me to fight burnout. In any case, I've been Graham Johnson. This has been Tabletop Glory. Thank you so much for joining me. May your display case always be overfilled, and your pile of shame never run empty. Until next time.